seated. So find a comfortable seat, whatever that is for you. Maybe it is good old crisscross, maybe it's Sukhasana, maybe it's Virasana. So take a moment, find that place, wiggle around a little bit. So you find a place that feels okay for your body. I know it can be a little challenging to find a comfortable seat, especially cross-legged when we haven't moved too much. So if you have to wiggle around a little bit to get there, do that. Close those eyes and just tune in. Let's just arrive on our mat. Let your shoulders relax down away from the ears. Find that breath, that nice long spine, rooting down into the sitting bones, up through the spine, all the way up through the back of that neck. Feeling the top of the head reach towards the sky, feeling those shoulders melt even more, just a little softer. Feel the jaw soften and start to feel the breath. Start to feel the expansion and contraction of the inhale and exhale. Seeing if you can breathe from center, so that diaphragmatic breathing. We're breathing as though we're breathing from the solar plexus. So you feel the bottom portion of those ribs pressing out just as much as you do the upper. Breathing in and out through the nose if possible. On the inhale, feel that gentle lengthening of the spine, getting a little taller. And then on the exhale, feeling that sense of settling and rooting, arriving on your mat, starting to let everything you brought onto your mat fall away. And when you're ready, think about how you would start to move the body if we were going to go do seated cow and cat. So if you're in a position where you feel like you can't do seated cow and cat, then switch positions. And then find that place where you can start moving the hips forward, shoulders back and down, heart and chin up. Taking a nice inhale there. And then exhaling, pulling those hips back, rounding the spine, tucking the chin into our seated cat. Keeping the eyes closed or closing them again if they're not already, and just flowing with this, tuning into the breath and body moving together. Just saying a gentle good morning to the hips, or maybe it's evening for a lot of you watching the recording. The next time you inhale, pause there, find that long spine again. Eyes can be open or closed, it's up to you. Let's reach that right arm up, take a nice inhale, and exhale, come on over to the left, and just flow in and out of it. So inhaling out of the side bend and exhaling into it. And again, you can kind of tune in to just the movement of the body. We're not looking for a perfect side bend. We're just saying a gentle good morning to that side body. And then the next time you come up, let's float that arm down and do the other side. So find that inhale, reach up, then find that exhale, coming on over. And again, just flowing at your own pace with the breath. And the next time you come back to center, let that arm float down, give those shoulders a little roll. And if you're in cross-legged, switch legs. So bring that other leg in front if you can. This is where my knee comes in. It doesn't like to bend that far. That's why I always have the other one in front. There we go. Let's come back into that seated cow and cat. Again, tuning into the breath. Let's close our eyes on this one. Maybe a little more movement, maybe a little more drama, a little more dramatic movement with this. Trying to touch a little bit more of the body. Can you feel those upper shoulder, that upper back, those muscles engaging when you squeeze those shoulder blades together slightly on your inhale? Waking up the upper back, the neck. All right, and the next time you inhale, pause there, kind of halfway into the pose. Draw the shoulders back and down and hinge forward. Maybe the hands come down to the floor. Only go as far as feels good. It's early. We're just saying a gentle good morning to the outside of those hips, maybe the low back as well. And let's bring it back. Take a nice inhale, get tall, and exhale, let's twist to the left. Sit up nice and tall. Find that long spine. Close the eyes again and explore. Can you roll the upper ribs open, the chest open, slowly, gently, to get this twist into the upper back? Trying to keep the head floating right above the center of the hips so you're not leaning in any direction. Find the breath there, inhaling, finding that long spine, and exhaling, trying to twist just a millimeter more, but not forcing, encouraging, noticing, exploring. Let's come on back to center. Reach that left arm up. Take a nice inhale and exhale. Come on over. Let's hold that side bend this time. Only going as far as feels good. Explore. Notice. Don't demand too much of the body yet. It's early. And let's come on back up. One cow and cat. Nice inhale. And exhale. Finding that long spine again. And we'll twist to the other side. So twisting to the right. Once again, finding that center right over the hips. Twist from there. Tuning in. Does this side feel any different than the other? Were you paying enough attention to the sensations in the body on the other side to notice any subtle differences? Maybe they're not subtle, maybe they're obvious on this side. Inhaling, finding that long spine. Exhaling, finding that last little bit of twist. And come on back to center. Reach that right arm up. Nice inhale. And exhale, find your side bend. Exploring, noticing. How does this side feel? Try not to let that left shoulder roll back. Keep it right underneath you. And come on back to center. One more cow and cat to center us back off. And let's roll it forward into tabletop. So take a moment to get situated on hands and knees. If you need any padding underneath those knees, grab it. I should probably take this off before it starts banging on my microphone. All right, so let's shift those hips from left to right, side to side. Saying hello to the outside of those hips. And then when you're ready, start drawing a circle with those hips. So make as big of a circle as you can so that we're not just getting into the hips, but we're getting into the wrists, the shoulders, the knees, touching almost every joint. Major joints anyway. Other direction. If this bothers your knees, then maybe take it a little gentler, a little smaller. And let's come on back to center. You might have to readjust there a little bit. Sometimes that takes you out of place. Nice inhale into cow. Exhale into cat. And just notice the subtle difference between these cows and cats than our seated ones. Maybe you tuck the toes on the inhale or exhale to get the feet involved, to start to wake up the ankles and toes. All right, so let's pause for a moment after your next exhale. Come to a neutral tabletop and adjust your hands the angle that you would have them and how far apart you would have them for downward facing dog. Tuck those toes, lift the knees up. We're coming right back down, so don't make too many adjustments here with the feet. Just press up, press back, and then drop back down. So we're gonna see if we can coordinate this with the breath. So let's take an inhale, come into cow. Exhale, come into cat and lift those knees up and press back into this modified down dog. That's going to be an inhale as we hold it there. Exhaling is going to be dropping the knees down, pausing to finish the exhale before we inhale back in to our cow. So see if you can find that rhythm with your breath. And if you're like, this is just not working for me, trying to coordinate this with the breath, well, then just move and flow at the pace that feels right for your body in this moment, and just keep breathing. Just keep taking some really nice breaths so you stay tuned in. Oh my God, I hope I'm not gonna have trouble talking like I did last week. Last week was terrible. All right, the next time you land on those knees, pause there, let those feet rest down, widen the knees. Let's lift those hands up and making teepees out of the hands. So you can push those wrists forward, just stretch them out as you pull the hips back into this modified extended child's pose. With the tops of the feet, see if you can find all of the toes on the floor as you press those hips back. Push forward through those wrists. Take a nice big inhale. And exhale, let the hands rest down. Let the whole body sink down. See if you can let the head rest on the floor. Don't force it though. Maybe you need to widen the knees a little for the head to hit the floor. But if you can, have the knees close enough so when you sink down, you feel supported by the inner thighs, so your ribs hit the inner thighs. You might not be able to make that happen. That's okay. Just find that settled place. Reaching the sitting bones back, soften the jaw. Let the belly relax and take a nice big inhale all the way down into the belly. Nice deep belly breath. And sink a little deeper. Soften the jaw. So our theme this week is surrender. So, we've kind of been inching our way up to this. Last week was letting go. What's the difference between letting go and surrendering? Well, you need to let go before you can surrender, right? And so that's why last week it was let go. We were trying to bring you a little closer to this surrender. So as we let go and soften and allow, can we fully surrender to whatever is happening in this moment with the mind, with the body, with the breath? Can we just let it be? Slowly lift up, shift forward until you get those elbows down to the ground. So you're on your forearms, inch those elbows in underneath the shoulders, and then get those knees back under the hips. Draw the belly way into the spine and stretch that right leg on out behind you. Square off the hip. So bring that right hip down so it's level with the left. On the inhale, lift the leg a little, look up. And on the exhale, kick. So bend your knee and kick, and then squeeze in. So when you squeeze into the chest, pull the knee way up away from the floor, as deep, as close to the chest as you can, and then crunch in. How close can you get the cheek and knee together? Stretch it out, take a nice inhale, and then kick and squeeze. So that kick is there to warm up the hamstring, activate the hamstrings. It's plural, there's not one of them. Starting to wake up more of the body. The next time you exhale, lift way up away from the floor, squeeze in and release it down. Adjust those elbows if they start to slide away. Push up away from the floor. So really push that collarbone away from the floor. Draw the belly in again. Stretch that other leg out. Square that hip off. When you're ready, find that rhythm with the breath. Inhaling, lifting, looking, and exhaling, kicking and squeeze. The next time you squeeze and finish there, really squeeze. And then bring that knee on down, inch those elbows back towards the knees until you can bring those arms along the sides into child's pose. Let the arms drop heavy. Let the head drop. Let everything just melt here. Once again, coming into this letting go. Flow and let go. Here's the let go part. Last week I wasn't so great at the letting go part. Matt was here and I'm like, yeah, well, there was not a whole lot of letting go there. We just went last week. All right, let's roll it on up slowly, lifting up to those knees and just peek down. Make sure those knees are right underneath you. They might need to come apart a little bit more. So the knees are right underneath the hips. Tilt the hips back, squeeze those glutes and draw your tailbone forward, hands on the back of the hips. So you can do fists, fingers aiming down, up, whatever position you like for the hands. But what we're thinking about is squeezing the elbows together, squeezing the shoulder blades together. So what positioning of the hands allows you to get those elbows a little closer together? Gently push into the hands and just lift the heart up.
to the sky. Lift the chin if it feels okay on the neck. If that does not feel good on the neck, then keep that chin tucked and just reach the heart as close to the ceiling as you can. Keep those glutes squeezing. Keep that tailbone reaching forward. Lift that heart. Inhale. Use your core. So engage your core to bring you forward. Let those hands come back down to the floor into tabletop. Shift those hips from left to right. And nice inhale into cow. Exhale, cat, tuck those toes, lift those knees. This time, go ahead and make whatever adjustments need to be made to find your downward facing dog. So get those hands where they need to be, those feet where they want to be. I'm not looking for textbook down dog here. I'm looking for the one that feels good for you right now at this point in your practice. Root those hands, press on back, stretch it out. Feet can be wide if you're tight in those shoulders or legs this morning. Draw that belly into the spine, close the eyes, let the head relax a little, soften the jaw. Feel the rootedness. Can you feel the connectedness with your hands into your mat and your feet? Not everybody's whole foot is going to touch the ground, but as much of your foot as possible. Just feel that sense of rootedness. Bend your left knee, sink into your right heel, gently push back, and then switch. And press back, both heels go down, bend those knees, walk those feet to the hands. Keep some space in between those feet. Half lift when you get there. Inhale. Exhale, hinge. Pausing here, only going as deep as feels good. Saying hello to those hamstrings, maybe the calves if you're tight there. You can have soft knees. We don't want to bend in them, but we don't want to be hyperextendy either. So focus more on pivoting those hips forward and reaching your sitting bones away from your heels, finding the just right amount of stretch for your body in this moment. Bend those knees, drop down on those thighs into this kind of supported ragdoll. So our thighs are supporting us. Let the head and arms drop just like we would for ragdoll. Let go, soften. Maybe give the head a little wiggle. And let's slowly bring it up. You can come up nice and slow with a rounded back, or you can lift up with a flat back if that feels better. Take your time. Coming on up. Sweeping those arms up. Take a nice inhale and bring it to the heart in Anjali Mudra. Pausing for a moment, find a drishti. Soften the shoulders and jaw. Take a nice big inhale up. Exhale, dive it down, hinge. Inhale, half lift. And exhale, step that right foot back to low lunge. Nice big step back so we can get nice and low. Arms along the sides into airplane arms. So dive right down and lay right on top of that left thigh. Sink those hips down. See if you can get your left hip as low as your knee. Lift that right knee up and press through that heel. Find the length. Feel the energy line from the heel to the crown as you reach those fingers back and draw those shoulders together. If you want to interlace here behind the back, that's available as well. Find the breath. Keep that back leg strong. Seeing if you can sink the hips a little deeper. Float that knee down slowly with control. Bring that right hand to the floor. Open up that left arm. Push away from the floor. Reach for the ceiling. And again, see if you can spin the chest open towards the side so we get into that upper back. Nice inhale. Exhale, release. Move that right hand back over so you can step that left foot back to plank. Taking a moment to get situated in your plank. Push up, 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 up. Knees down, pause there, push up again. How far away from the floor can you get the collarbone? Nice inhale. Exhale, take your time coming down. Nice inhale into cobra. Exhale to the floor. And 2 more times. Waking up the back. Squeeze those glutes. And the next time you come down, tuck those toes, get all 10 toes nice and tucked. See if you can get those big toes tucked under a little more. Push straight up nice and strong. Inhale. And exhale, push those hips back to the heels. Keep the toes tucked and just stretch it out here for a moment. Stretching out all those muscles we just used in those cobras. And come on back up to downward facing dog. So let's sink into that. Let's spin the toes to the right a little bit. Sink into that right heel. Draw the left knee underneath you to the right. Peek underneath your right arm and pull that right hip back. Twisting open a little bit to the right. Getting into that side body, maybe all the way up to the shoulder, depending on your body. And spin to the other side, sink into that left heel, draw that right knee underneath you over to the left, peek underneath that left arm and push back as you pull the left hip back. Breathe. And come on back to center, sink those heels down, push back, and bring those feet to the front. Half lift when you get there. Taking it to the top. Other side, nice big inhale. Exhale. Half lift. And step that left foot back. Find your low lunge. Take a moment to readjust, including your pants. Oh, I always have wardrobe issues. All right, let's find that nice long line again from that heel to the crown. Find wherever you were on the other side as close to that as you can get on this side. If you interlace, do it on this side. Find that breath, gazing inside the foot. Can you do this with the eyes closed? There's a little balance challenge for you. Slowly floating that knee down to the floor with control. Bring that left palm down, open that right arm up. Push away from the floor, reach for the ceiling, and then spin that chest open. Pulling the arm back only as far as feels good. Nice inhale. Exhale, release. Move that left hand over so you can get that right foot back into plank. And push on up, 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 up. Knees down. Lie down. One big cobra. And down. Tuck those toes. Push straight up, nice and strong. Big inhale. And hips to the heels to start. Pause there. Stretch it out. And then float on up to your downward facing dog. All right, let's get those feet on railroad tracks. So they're about 6 inches apart or so, give or take. Doesn't have to be perfect. We don't need a measuring stick. Press on back. Float that left leg up. Sink the right heel down and just push back. Try and square off that hip, just like we did in that tabletop when we were doing the inhale, lift up, look up. Square that hip off so the hips are even with each other. Push back. Lift the leg a little higher without opening the hip. Bring it down. Other side. Keep breathing. Gaze back at the wall behind you or that ankle. Lift a little higher. Bring it down. Bend those knees. Take it to the front at your own pace, flowing all the way through to the top with your breath. Inhale. And exhale. Dive it down. Half lift. Left foot goes back to our low lunge once again. Come right into those airplane arms or interlacing, whatever you did before. Find that length and then slowly rise up. So get that back leg really strong. If you have to drop it down to the floor, go ahead. Sink into that right hip. Find your drishti. Maybe the chest lifts and the gaze lifts, maybe not. Find the breath wherever you're at. And float those arms up from wherever they're at. Nice inhale. Exhale. Dive it down. Step it back. Plank. Inhale. Push up, push up, push up. Exhale. Knees down. Lie down. Inhale. Cobra. And exhale. Down and back in one breath if you can this time. And then our inhale takes us to our down dog. All right, so we just step that left foot back. Let's float that left leg up. Draw that right heel down. Push back. Lift that leg a little higher. Nice inhale. Look forward at your left thumb and kick that foot on through. Find that low lunge. We're on the opposite side we just did, so take a moment, find it. Wherever you just had the arms, airplane or interlaced. Get that strong back leg and then float on up. Get that back leg strong. Find that drishti, find that breath. Maybe lift the heart. Maybe the gaze. If you're gonna fall over, then maybe not. And then eventually floating those arms up if they're not already. Nice inhale, exhale, dive it down, step it forward. Floating your way through to the top at your own pace, letting the breath lead the way. Ah, good morning. Inhale up. Exhale. Half lift. We'll take that right foot back. Back to our low lunge once again. Find that strong back leg. Rise up, sink down. Get that back leg nice and strong. Bring those arms out to a T. So this is going to be our inhale. Exhale, twist to the left. Sink into those hips. Only twist as much as feels good. And then inhale back to center. You can bring the arms up overhead on the inhale if you want. So you could inhale up, exhale, twist, or you can just keep the arms to a T. So find that feels good for you. I like going up and then down, as I almost fall over. So kind of lift up out of the pose just a little bit when you inhale. And then as you exhale and twist, sink into it. One more time. We're going to hold that twist. Bring that right hand down outside the knee. That left arm is to a T. Swing it around behind you. Sink into the pose and gently reach through those back fingertips. Bring your left hand to your hip. Bring your right hand down to the floor. Step your left foot back to Vashisthasana, side plank. Whatever variation works for you. If you need those feet on the floor, obviously you need one, but if you need both on the floor, then they're both on the floor. Nice inhale. With control, bring it around to plank. Inhale, push up. Exhale, knees down, lie down. Find your way through to down dog with the breath. If you want to skip that heel variation and just go up to down dog, feel free. I always like to add that in there as an extra stretch. All right, let's see. Right leg rises this time. So get those feet on railroad track if they weren't. So we got that nice, we can get those nice square hips. Draw that left heel down, push back, lift that right leg up. How high can you lift it without opening the hip? Look forward at the thumb, take a nice inhale, exhale, swing it on through. Take a moment to find that nice slow lunge, rise up. So we'll start with these arms to a T, just because that's where we started before. Sink into it, find that nice low lunge. When you're ready, inhale overhead and exhale, twist. So if that's not the variation you did, if you didn't come up overhead, if you just kept those arms to a T and just swung from front to side, that's fine. Do that on this side. So we're rising up a little on the inhale, sinking down low on the exhale. And the next time you exhale, pause there, bring that left hand outside the knee, sink into the pose, get that back leg strong and twist. Maybe you can gaze to the back, breathe. Right hand to the hip, left hand to the floor, step it back to side plank. Vashisthasana. See if you can get that nice straight line, even if the foot has to come in front or behind. Push away from the floor, inhale. With control, take it around. Last knees, chest, chin. We can do chaturanga up dog next time if you like. Inhale, exhale, knees down, lie down. Find your way through with your breath. downward facing dog. All right, let's bring those feet together all the way. Still they're touching. Press on back, stretch it out. Notice the subtle little difference in that stretch with the feet together. And float that left leg up. Open the hip to the side, peek underneath the left arm. So lift that leg high. Try to keep the ankle in line with the hip. So you're not using the leg to open the hip. You're trying to tuck your right hip underneath you, pushing back, and then just lifting the leg up. Nice inhale. Exhale, kick it through. Take a moment. You're going to have to step that right foot out to the side because it was at center. Find that length. Rise up. Once again. Draw the belly button into the spine so you really start to wake up the front of that hip. The psoas, right? Sink it down. Find your drishti. Bring those arms up. Soften the jaw. How elegantly, effortlessly, let's put it that way, can you fly from here to warrior three? Can you square off that right hip? Bend that left knee if you need to. Maybe that leg will never get woken up enough for you to have it straight in your warrior three. Can you float back to that lunge as beautifully as you did into that warrior three? Whew. Sink it down, reach it high. If it feels okay, you can go for the back bend here, only if it feels okay. Inhale, exhale, fly it forward, fingers to the floor this time. Hop that back leg up. Walk those hands forward so the wrists are right underneath the shoulders. Square off the hip again. Bend that left knee so you can get really square in the hips. Reach through that right heel. Now, come on up to just the first 3 fingertips so you can get as far away from the floor as possible and start to straighten that left leg as much as you can. I have long arms and short legs, so blocks might serve you really well here to get that leg a little straighter. Bring your right hand in just a little bit. Make that teepee. Left hand to the hip. Reach through the heel and start to twist. Open to the left. Take your time. If you want to float that left arm up into revolved half moon, feel free. Bend the knee. Bring the left hand down. Other side. So we haven't done a whole lot of inner thigh opening, so don't be surprised if this warrior three half moon is a little challenging. I would have normally done some wide leggings and stuff before bringing us into this, but we're here, so we're just going to go for it. Whether we're ready or not. Bend the knee, float it to warrior two. How's that left thigh feeling? All right, take a moment, look down, get those feet where they need to be for your warrior two.
Wrong side.
No, you're good, you're good. Your right foot's back, right foot's back. Yeah. Yep. You got it. Good morning. Open up that knee. Get that weight on the outside of that left foot so you're not collapsing into the knee. Get that back leg strong. Now, how low can you bring that right hip without the left knee collapsing in? Start to wake up this inner thigh and groin, which normally I would have done before half moon. We'll see what half moon feels like after we do all this. Float those arms up, drop them down, soften those shoulders, fingertips to fingertips, check those arms. They like to do funky things. Sink a little deeper if you can. Find the breath. Inhale up, straighten the leg, palms together overhead if you can. If they don't touch, just get them as close as they'll go. And then exhale down into our warrior two. Open up that knee. Don't let the weight go on inside the knee. Inhale up. Exhale, sink a little lower this time. Maybe the knee goes past the ankle for a half a second there. That's okay. We don't want it to go really far past the ankle because we don't want to overload the knee. But you can go a little past if we're not going to hold it there for very long. But make sure you're opening that knee and not collapsing into the medial meniscus and squishing it. I don't have any left, so I don't have to worry about it as much. But then if I let my knee collapse, it means bone is squishing on bone, so we don't want that. The next time those arms float down into your warrior two, pause there. Let that back arm float down, reach that left arm up into our reverse warrior. Open up that knee as you go. If your thigh is just killing you and you can't hold it, then straighten the leg. You can do this with a straight leg. You don't have to have the leg bent. Look down at that back big toe. Use that for your drishti. Slowly release, straighten that front leg, Trikonasana, triangle. Keep those right ribs tucked down. Don't let them pop up. Spin open. Engage that right glute. I'm talking as though there's one, but just get your buns strong on that right side. And spin it to the side. Flip those feet into wide leg. You're gonna have to adjust that left foot a little bit. Get those feet even. Walk the hands forward so your hip joint's in line with your ankle joint. Take a nice inhale. And exhale, find your stretch, wherever that is for you. If your fingertips are barely touching the floor, then stay there and just lengthen and try and pivot those hips. If you can get to the palms, great. If you can bend the elbows, lucky you. Find that breath wherever you're at. Open the toes a little bit wherever you're at. Everybody's gonna be in a different place, so wherever you're at is perfect. Open the toes and just bend one knee and shift to that side, and then just go back and forth. You can wind the hands if you want. Sometimes I like to get the hands so they mimic the legs and I come up onto fingertips. So you can play around with this a little bit. We're just trying to wake up those inner thighs a little. All right, the next time you shift to the left, pause there, start to spin back towards the front of your mat. So walk those hands around. Our feet are not gonna be where they need to be. We're not gonna worry about it because we're just gonna hop forward. Take it to the front, feet together, knees together, Utkatasana. Go sink a little lower, reach from hips to fingertips, draw the belly in, and up slow, strong, controlled. Into the heart. Beautiful. Inhale. And exhale, watch it as you dive down, feet are together, it's a little different. Pivot those hips, find that stretch. So let's inch those feet apart before we step back, just to make sure we step back evenly. Stepping back into our plank. So yogi's choice here, knees, chest, chin, and cobra, or chaturanga and up dog, your choice. Flowing through to your down dog at your own pace. All right, let's bring those feet back together again all the way. Root those hands, press on back. Draw those heels down, draw that belly in. Gaze at the ankles or close the eyes for a moment. Think about making that V shape I talk about in our upper back. So gently drawing the upper shoulder blades apart for the top of the V and gently squeezing the lower edge of the shoulder blades together like you're trying to draw a V with those shoulder blades. Float that right leg up. Open that hip to the side, peek underneath that right arm, sink into that left heel. And again, spin open through the hips, not the leg. So we're not trying to pull the leg behind us on this one. We're trying to get ready for that triangle pose. So imagine you're trying to stack that right hip on top of the left without pulling the leg behind you. You're pulling the leg up, not back. Nice inhale. Exhale, kick it on through. What do we do next? A lunge. We were back up into our high lunge again. Oh, that's right. Got it. Our warrior three, our elegant, beautiful warrior three. Let's find our lunge first, though. Get your drishti, find your breath, soften the jaw. When you're ready, float it forward, taking your time, finding that warrior three. Notice how it is on this side. Hey, do you have to bend that right knee a little bit more on this side than you did on the other? Now, just as beautifully as you came into that, take your time dropping that left foot back down, rising back up into our high lunge. And again, maybe you come into the back bend, maybe not. Nice inhale wherever you're at. Exhale, dive it forward, fingertips to the floor. Hop that back leg up. Walk the hands forward, square off the hips, bend that right knee as much as you need to get that left hip nice and even with the right. So you've got a nice flat surface from hip to hip behind you. Reach through that left heel and lengthen. See, come on up to those fingertips again, just barely on those fingertips or blocks, and see how straight you can get that right leg. And then bend the knee a little bit so that you can get that teepee in the left hand. So get that hand right underneath the nose, right hand to the hip to start, and start twisting open to the right. Take your time. That left hip is going to drop down a little bit. That's okay. It has to. Into our revolved half moon. And come on down. Right hand down, left hand to the hip. Start to open to the other side. Keep your breath going, most important part of your practice. Ardha Chandrasana. Bend the knee, float it into your warrior two. Take a moment, reposition. So you get that heel in line with the arch. Open up that knee, working from the ground up, right? Sink that left hip down, open up that right knee. Ooh, soften those shoulders. Nice inhale, overhead, straighten the leg. Exhale back into it. Open up that knee when you go. Sink as low as you can. Inhale up and exhale, sink. All right, the next time we come into our warrior two, we'll pause there, open up that knee, find it, find that pose, soften those shoulders, soften the jaw, and drop that left hand down. Reach the right arm up. Nice inhale. Exhale, find your reverse. Take a moment, explore it. Can you take that gaze back to that left big toe? If you've got that knee bent, make sure it's open. Nice inhale, exhale, release, Trikonasana, triangle pose. Like all that stuff I yapped at you about on the other side. Don't forget that glute. Squeeze that left glute if you can to help keep the hip open. Keep that breath going. Rise up, use your core, spin to the side into this really wide-legged five-pointed star. Inhale, lift the heart, and exhale, dive it down. Back to our Prasarita, Padottanasana. Feet far apart, intense stretch. That's why we just say wide-legged, wide-legged. All right, let's open those toes again. This time, let's hold it. So let's go to the, let's see, we have our right foot forward. So let's go to the left first. So come on over, drop that butt down. So this is this extended side squat. So we want to keep our left heel on the floor. We're not trying to get to Skandasana where we lift the heel off the floor. So because of my knee, I have to have my hands underneath me. I can't bring my hands up to the heart like I do on the other side. So if you can, feel free. I'm trying to just get my butt as low as I can and open up my knee. Find that breath wherever you're at. All right, let's take our time, making our way over to the other side. Open up that right knee. Use that elbow if you can to push it open. Even if your hands are on the floor, you can still kind of use that right elbow to push it open and sink the bottom down. Find your breath wherever you're at. And let's spin to the front of our mat. Take a nice inhale and exhale, hop it forward. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, hinge. All the way up, inhale. And exhale, sit down in your chair. So look down on your feet, get your feet on railroad tracks this time. So we're gonna do the variation where our feet are apart. So watch those knees go right over the toes. Those knees are staying right over the toes. Draw the belly in, sink into your heels, especially if you're gonna go lower, so you're not overloading your knees. Find that breath wherever you're at. Don't let those knees collapse together. Inhale up, Exhale, dive it down. Inhale, half lift. And exhale, take it back to plank, flowing your way through to down dog, however you want to get there. Nobody will know if you go from plank straight to down dog and skip the vinyasa. Nobody will know. When we do the sun salutation, the solstice, that usually happens about halfway through. Okay. I think the most we ever actually have never gotten to 108. I think the most we ever did was 62 or 3 one time. All right, find your down dog. Oh, how does it feel now? Can you remember that first down dog that we did and how it felt? Close those eyes and tune in. Can you get a greater sense of rootedness? Because maybe the hands can press into the floor a little more. Maybe the more of the foot is touching the floor. Maybe not, just notice. Inhale, push back, draw the heels down and drop it down to Utthita Balasana, or Balasana if you like. Some form of child's pose. Find it someplace where you feel like you can relax, release, and let go. So maybe it's a halfway in between, like I'm in extended child's pose, sort of. I've got my elbows bent though, so my arms and shoulders can relax. And walk those hands towards you. Rise on up. So you can just rise up and sit in Virasana if you like, if that's comfortable and easy for you, or you can come into cross-legged. So for me to stay in Virasana, I need a couple blocks. I usually end up coming out of it because I can't stay there. Let those hands land wherever they land. Soften the shoulders. Close the eyes for a moment and come back. Come back in. And let's sit up nice and tall. Whatever seat you're in is perfect. Tuck the chin and slowly start to roll that head around. Noticing as you roll it around where the tight spots are. In the other direction. All right, let's sit up tall. Draw that that right ear towards the right shoulder. Draw the left shoulder down. And if you want a little more, you can bring that right hand up and give a gentle push towards the shoulder. So that right ear is coming close to the shoulder, but pull down through that left shoulder, close the eyes and just tune in. Breathe right in to that upper trapezius. Feel that stretch from the neck down through the top of that shoulder. As though the breath could go there and help it to soften and release and let go. All right, so we're gonna come out of this in stages. Give that last little bit of stretch. Then just bring the right hand down if it's up and slowly shrug your left shoulder up and then lift your head up. So take your time finding this other side. Important part, draw that right shoulder down. So reaching for the ground, maybe your hand's on the ground and maybe not. Notice how this side feels compared to the other. Does it feel a little tighter? Do you feel the stretch more or less or about the same? Just notice, breathe into it. And again, coming out in stages. Bringing that hand down, shrugging the shoulder up, and then lifting that head. Give those shoulders a little roll. All right, let's interlace the hands behind. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and just press those knuckles away. So again, you can do this in cross-legged. It's totally fine to do in cross-legged. It's where I normally am, right? And think about pulling those shoulders, the front of the shoulder as far apart as possible. Try not to let your solar plexus pop out too much. So try and keep the solar plexus tucking in as you squeeze the shoulder blades together. We compensate when we have tight shoulders by popping that out. So try not to. Try to squeeze the shoulder blades together and keep pulling in.
pushing through the arms, through the knuckles. They might not come straight, that's okay. And then see if you can lift up at all again without that solar plexus popping forward. Find that breath. And now, maybe you lift the heart. Maybe not. If that doesn't feel good, don't do it. And very slowly release. All right, let's come out of cross-legged or virasana, kneeling, whatever you're in. Stretch those legs on out in front of you. It's going to take a while for mine to come on. Come on. Okay. All right, let's stretch those legs on out. It would not be a class with Amber without, come on, it's locked up, without Paschimottanasana. So get those legs nice and close, wiggle those sitting bones back and find your stretch. There we go. A little different for everybody. If you're really tight here, use those hands outside the hips to push you forward. Keep the shoulders open, keep that chest open. So you feel your heart reaching away from your belly button gently the whole way, no matter how far you go. Even if you're flexible here and get to those toes, wiggle those sitting bones back again and keep that heart reaching away from the belly button. Close those eyes, tune in. Find that edge, that place that, you know, you feel the stretch pretty intensely. You couldn't hold for 10 breaths or so, maybe only 3 or 4. And slowly release, come on up. Let's bring those feet together in Baddha Konasana. Draw those knees down, sit up tall, pull those hips forward. If you can easily grab the feet, feel free to pull them apart. Draw those knees down, keep pulling forward through the hips. So from belly button to pubic bone, pull that forward as you draw the knees down. Close those eyes for a moment, tune in. And release. Let's come into cross-legged with that left leg in front. So just crisscross so we can get into these hips a little bit. Wiggle those sitting bones back and come on forward, back into that forward bend we did earlier. Notice how it feels. Now, is it any different? Can you come a little further? Maybe, maybe not, just notice. And maybe that was too long ago to remember. And come up nice and tall, nice inhale, exhale, twist to the left. We're not going to be here long, so find that twist, twist, twist. Back to center, reach that left arm up, nice inhale, exhale. Find your side bend. How does it feel now? Explore. Notice maybe that elbow gets to the floor now and it didn't earlier. Maybe it doesn't. Who cares? And come on up and switch legs. Bring that other leg in front and come on forward into your forward bend when you're ready. And sit up nice and tall. Find your twist. Twist, twist, twist to the right. And back to center. Right arm floats up. Nice inhale. And exhale, find your side bend. Find that breath. And slowly come on. Back up. So I didn't do as many. I meant to do Shashangasana, rabbit pose earlier, and I forgot. So we're going to come into candlestick. And you can explore how deeply, how closely towards plow you want to go or not. Because we don't have, it's for the upper back and neck. It is meant to be an intense, deep stretch for that. But I often take a little bit more time to stretch it out first. So come on down onto your back, kick those feet up overhead, find the back of your hips, wiggle those elbows underneath you, and just pause for a moment in candlestick. And then maybe that's good enough for you right now. Maybe you want to push those hips up towards a little bit of a kind of a half shoulder stand. And then you just kind of float those feet overhead a little bit and see how it feels. Oh, there it is. There's a stretch, right? We don't have to go all the way into the pose to get a stretch. Take your time exploring this if you are going into it, into plow pose.
Maybe those hands interlace and you can wiggle the shoulders in a little more. Slowly float your way down. We don't have time for shoulder stand, unfortunately, because I want to come into the counter pose, Matsyasana. So float your way up to those elbows. You can wiggle the fingers underneath you if you want and come into that variation, or you can just keep those hands outside the hips and squeeze those shoulder blades together, opening up the chest and drawing the head back. Okay, so if you come into that variation where you're sitting on the hands and you're sliding the buns back on the hands, make sure your hands can take that weight. But the important part is squeezing the shoulder blades together and pushing up through the heart, drawing the head back, opening up that throat we just squished in. And then take your time lifting your head very, 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 very slowly. And then wiggle those elbows out from underneath you until you can wiggle your way down to the floor. Use your core. And just flop open into Shavasana for a moment, just to stop. And then let's bring those knees into the chest, give a little rock from side to side. So it's going to be a little different for everybody right now, what your body feels like it needs. So I'm just going to give everybody a moment to find another stretch, another pose, another twist. If you were dying to do that shoulder stand and I took you out of it, if you want to come back into it, feel free, but maybe not. Just take a moment to do what your body feels it needs. But if you're doing something that requires both sides to be done, do both sides, of course. And then when you're ready, when your body feels like it has done everything it needs to do, another twist, one more stretch. Don't come into Shavasana or whatever pose you're using for Shavasana until your body is ready. Maybe it was ready. Maybe you're there already. You're like, yeah, I'm good. I'm ready. So taking that time to find that just right place for your final relaxation. Maybe it's Shavasana. Maybe it's legs up the wall today. The pose is not the important part. We traditionally use Shavasana, but the important part is being comfortable. So find that place, tune in. And then let go. Feel the body start to relax in whatever pose you've chosen. And find that breath wherever you land. And feel the inhales come in. Fill you up. Feeling that sense of expansion. Feel the exhales move out, helping you to let go, helping you to soften through this process of letting go, peeling away layer upon layer with each exhale. Surrendering to what comes and letting it just be.
As the mind wanders, just notice, observe what your mind is spending its energy on, and then come back to the breath. Can you surrender fully to this moment of just being here now? Allowing yourself to be completely absorbed in letting go and surrendering. Noticing where the mind is at in this moment, bring it back. Coming back to that breath once again if you've lost it. Reconnecting with the expansion and the contraction, the letting go. And coming back once again, feeling the breath in the body, taking a nice big inhale when you're ready. And bringing awareness back to the body, noticing how it feels in this moment. So for those of you on the recording, I'm going to leave you here and let you come out of this at your own pace, taking time, taking care, and do not forget to thank yourself for showing up on your mat.